Did no one think that that would be a terrible idea? Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 131st episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as well as the 19th episode of Season 3, titled Changing of the Zords Part 1. We begin this episode at the youth center where Kim, Aisha, and Kat are hanging out surrounded by shopping bags. They apparently had fun at the shops, but Kat has to go home for dinner now. She runs into Tommy, giving him the eyes. Then Kat watches him go and talk to Kim, clearly getting jealous. On the moon, Finster lets Zed and Rita know that after years of effort, he's finally deciphered the scrolls of Zornia? Apparently, the scrolls show the exact location of the dormant Zords, which can be brought to life with the power of the Ninja Zords. Rita and Zed celebrate because they'll be able to have Zords of their own. Kim meets up with Kat at the youth center, and she invites her to go swimming with the gang at the lake. But of course, Kat isn't very fond of the water, because she's a cat. Get it? Then Tommy comes up asking if they're coming, and Kim starts to explain that Kat isn't, but because Kat sees the man of her wet dreams, she suddenly changed her mind and cannot wait to get to the lake. She just has to run home and get her swimsuit. On another planet, or maybe some random forest, Babu, Squat, and Finster are walking around looking for the dormant Zords, and they take a break. Ironically, Squat finds one of the Zords on accident by resting his hand on it. Bulk and Skull are at the beach patrolling to keep everyone safe from trouble. They turn a corner, seeing a few kids who appear to be drowning, so in super slow motion, they run forward, ripping off their clothes to show their full body swimsuits, thank God, leaping into the water. And it turns out that the kids were in like knee-high water. Kat is walking toward the beach and Rita stops her. Rita assigns a job to her. Get a power coin from one of the Rangers. She warns not to get caught or else a cat will be out of the bag. Seriously. At a table, Kim and Aisha are leaving their stuff there in their backpacks. They rush off toward the water and Kat leaves her stuff behind too. Is Kat just going to swim in khaki shorts? Rita points out that she can't steal a power coin with all these people around, so Rito suggests that they send down Tangas as a distraction. Kat is on the beach laying down while we see the 6 Rangers hanging out in the water. Then suddenly the Tangas appear all around the Rangers and they all hop into the water, while Kat just walks away like she forgot something super mundane in her car. Bulk and Skull also run away. Then the Tangas are looking for the Rangers, but they're not anywhere nearby at all. They inspect the water a bit more closely when suddenly bursts of multicolored lights come out of the water. It's the Rangers in their Ninja Ranger power form. Okay, that was kind of dope. Adam splits into 2, fighting the Tangas before Aisha just disappears to reappear. Also, Tommy is getting thrown into the water. Thank God. Then he comes back out of the water, somehow completely dry. Also, Rocky is just pushing a Tanga off of a boat. Kat gets to everyone's stuff and she's just collecting her own things. Kinda weird. Then she sees Kimberly's bag taking her power coin. We cut to Kim, whose vision is getting blurry. Kat also finds a photo that Kim has of her and Tommy together before she looks at Aisha's stuff. Kat then decides that while she's there, she might as well. However, she's interrupted by Bulk and Skull being escorted to safety by them. I mean, kind of, they just run ahead of her. Tommy helps out Kim, who is clearly feeling weak. Kat then teleports away, much to the confusion of Bulk and Skull, who just fall over for no reason. I think it's supposed to be something about the heat or something. The Tangas disappear and they rip off their ninja power garb, and Kim feels strange. She asks where Kat went. On the moon, Kat gives Rita and Zed Kim's power coin, and Zed says that his plan is to steal the Falcon Zord so that they can copy its energies and power their own Zords. At the lake, the Rangers get beeped. Alpha lets them know that Goldar and Tangas are in the park. Also, I don't know why I'm shocked, but Tommy has like a killer 6-pack. Like, I guess I just always assumed that he was super fit without that, but like, wow. Jason David Frank was seriously in peak physical shape on this show, huh? The Rangers start to leave, but Tommy checks on Kim, who says that she's never felt like this before, but she's sure that she'll be okay. They go back to their stuff, and Kim finds out that her power coin is missing, and Aisha dramatically asks, "What?" Then Kim starts glowing, and Billy surmises that her body is experiencing some sort of power drain without her coin. Tommy calls Zordon right away, and he explains what's going on, and Zordon says that I must have fallen into evil hands. He tells him to use their power coins to recharge Kim. Tommy is going to head out with Ninjor to handle Goldar and the Tangas. It's morphin' time. Tommy and Ninjor show up, fighting off the Tangas relatively easily while Kat watches from behind a tree. Rita appears again and she gives a power coin back to Kat for her to use it to steal the Falcon Zord. I feel like this could have been done much more efficiently. Goldar laments that the Tangas actually kind of suck, while Ninjor and Tommy demolish them. Suddenly, Goldar turns giant in a way that we've never seen before, and Tommy calls out the Falcon Zord, which comes screeching in. Ninjor also grows giant. In the cockpit, Tommy is making a bunch of puns about how he's going to kill Goldar when suddenly Cat appears behind him, knocking him out and kicking him out of the Zord. Thank you, Cat. I mean, seriously. Then Ninjor gets hit by Goldar, returning to his human size. Cat has taken control of the Falcon Zord, turning it into a realistic Falcon, and they both fly back to the moon to Zed, apparently. Also, Ninjor just disappears for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Goldar tells Tommy that he's lost, and Tommy tells Zordon what's happened. Afterward, Tommy waxes poetic about how he's not going to lose despite whatever he says about Zed may have defeated the Power Rangers. Dude, there are like at least 4 others of you. On the moon, we see that Zed now has Ninjor in an urn, which now makes sense as to why he disappeared in the first place. In the command center, Zordon explains that when they got the new Ninja Power Coins, Ninjor linked them to their bodies. On top of this, Zordon explains that Zed has discovered the dormant Zords of Zordnia, and he explains that he plans to create new Zords against them. Rocky then states the obvious about them being totally screwed. Then, Kim just faints, and Zordon says that they have to get her power coin back. Thanks for caring about Kim, Zordon. Finally, we see that Cat is in a tree because she's a cat, where she tears the photo of Tommy and Kim in two, removing Kim from it as she smiles evilly. To be continued. Over the credits, we get an extended version of Rocky tossing the Tenga over the boat. Way to kill the mood, guys. Not gonna lie, this episode's amazing. Falcon Zord has been kidnapped. Kimberly is pretty much dying. There are new Zords, but Zed has them instead of the good guys. And on top of all that, it's pretty well acted. I mean, seriously, I'm so into this storyline. Seriously, I'm so into this storyline. It's a shame the show hasn't been this fantastic the entire time, because I would have loved to see them do something like this with the original 5, so that we could see some of the acting chops on those guys, particularly Tui Trang. Can you guys tell that Trini was definitely my favorite? So will the story bottom out next time? I mean, chances are pretty high, but find out then. But until then, may the power protect you.